Title: The Commander's Ride. It was a hot, dusty afternoon in the heart of Arizona, where the sun blazed down on an endless stretch of highway. A group of bikers roared down the road, the throaty growl of their engines reverberating through the desert air. They were tough, unruly, and used to getting what they wanted, whether on the streets or in the barrooms. But today, they were about to learn that not every battle is fought with fists or bullets. A tactical command center, hidden beneath the surface of a small, nondescript military base, sat like a silent guardian of national security. Inside, the air was cool, a sharp contrast to the desert heat outside. The room was filled with high-tech equipment, glowing screens, and a handful of soldiers, most of them quiet, focused, and well-trained in the art of warfare. Among them was Lieutenant Commander Jack Hawk Daniels, a man with a reputation for getting the job done, no matter the cost. Hawk wasn't the typical military officer. His past was colorful. He had spent years in covert operations, trained in a variety of combat disciplines, and survived situations most people would call insane. But the years had also taught him a certain calm, a stoic demeanor that kept him grounded in the chaos of the world. He wasn't the type to seek attention, but when trouble came knocking, he answered. And today, trouble was on its way. The bikers had rolled into town, drawn by the allure of a quiet, out-of-the-way, desert oasis, where they could drink and revel without interference. But their sense of invincibility, honed over years of living on the fringes of society, led them to the wrong place, a place where trouble had a tendency to find its way home. The biker gang's leader, a man named Viper, was a hulking figure covered in tattoos, his attitude as poisonous as his nickname. He had heard rumors of a command center hidden in the area, a place that supposedly housed some of the most advanced military tech in the country. He was curious, and curiosity had always been a dangerous thing for a man like Viper. They rolled up to the small military facility, thinking it was an easy target. After all, who would expect a bunch of grungy bikers to be a threat? They weren't soldiers. They weren't organized. They just wanted to cause a little trouble. As they parked their bikes and swaggered toward the entrance, Hawk watched them from a high vantage point inside the command center. He wasn't in full uniform. He was wearing a faded t-shirt, cargo pants, and boots like a man who didn't need to announce his rank. He could see the gang outside, laughing and joking, oblivious to the danger they were walking into. Viper walked up to the entrance and slapped the security guard on the shoulder, his grin wide and arrogant. "Hey, soldier boy," Viper called. "Heard you boys got something worth seeing. How about we take a little tour?" The guard, a young soldier named Martinez, was new to the base. He hesitated, unsure of how to respond to the rough-looking man. Before he could speak, Hawk was already on the comms, his voice calm but firm. "Martinez, don't engage. Get inside. Now." Martinez blinked, confused for a moment, but followed the order. He quickly stepped back, retreating into the building. The bikers exchanged confused glances. "You hear that?" Viper shouted, his voice tinged with amusement. "Who the hell do they think they are? This is a free country, buddy. We do what we want." Hawk's fingers danced over the console in front of him, activating surveillance cameras and locking down the building's security systems. He could hear Viper's crew growing more irate outside. They were looking for a confrontation, and they weren't about to back down. Then, Hawk spoke again, his voice now booming through the loudspeakers outside. "You're trespassing. You have 5 seconds to turn around and leave." The bikers froze. They'd heard stories of military personnel dealing with their kind, but nothing prepared them for this voice, steady and resolute, cutting through the heat and dust. Viper's grin faltered for the first time. 5 seconds, huh?" Viper spat, the tension in his voice rising. "You think we're afraid of threats? We're just getting started. But Hawk wasn't done yet. His voice returned, calm and unwavering. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. By now, the bikers had realized that they weren't dealing with some small-time military installation. They were standing in front of a high-security facility, and there was something about the way the voice on the loudspeaker carried that made them uneasy. Just as the countdown hit 0, Hawk gave the signal. A hidden door in the side of the building opened, revealing a squad of soldiers, armed and ready. They stepped out silently, their movements coordinated, like a well-oiled machine. Viper and his gang quickly assessed the situation. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and completely unprepared for the level of discipline and coordination the soldiers exhibited. But it was too late for any kind of negotiation. Hawk emerged from the shadows, his presence commanding the attention of every man there. He stood tall, his expression unreadable, and his stance as calm as ever. "You made a mistake," Hawk said quietly, "thinking you could walk in here and take what you wanted. Now, you can either leave, or we'll make sure you never forget this day." Viper, the man who had terrorized entire towns, the man who thought he could walk into any place and make it his, suddenly realized he was out of his depth. There was no bravado left in him now. He looked around at his crew, and the fear started to creep into his eyes. You're not just soldiers, are you?" Viper stammered. Hawk took a step forward, his boots thudding on the desert ground. "No, we're something worse." And with that, the bikers, for the first time in their lives, knew what it felt like to be on the wrong side of a man who had no fear, no hesitation, and no mercy. They left the base that day with their tails between their legs, their pride shattered, and a new respect for the men and women who protected the country in silence, far from the front lines they thought they knew. But Hawk knew better than to revel in victory. For him, the mission was always the same: protect, defend, and never, ever